Right. So we're going to start learning about the GUI programming part along with event-driven programming paradigm, right? So in my hand, I have my TV remote controller. So I took this one just to help you understand the concept, children. So if you take a look at my TV remote here, what you see is uh, there are buttons, right? There are a lot of buttons here. Maybe each button is associated with a function, or it is associated with a work. So if you actually want to switch on, switch off, you can press this button, right? Switch on, switch off, you can from here you can do that. I think you can choose the source here: TV, PC, video, USB, that you can do. Here you can see the easy ones. I think I don't have a very HD camera, normal camera. So you can see the fast forwarding, play button, pause button, things are there. So I think very clear now. I think it's much clear now. So you can go to the home screen like that. uh, so here if you have channels, and you can, the numbers are there. Volume up, volume button. Here you can see volume up, volume down is there. Then you can mute the thing, as well as you can, I think, I don't know what this does. Channel up, channel down, it's there. Okay, why I showed you this one is this device. If you want to work with this device, this basically works with the TV. This works with this interface. This is the interface. Through this interface, I communicate with this device. Is that understood? Through this interface, I am communicating with this device. So if I want to change the channel, I will press the correct button here. So once I do that, this device has to carry out the proper operation to do that. Here I can't demonstrate that I don't have the TV here. It's in the other room, right? If I had the TV back here, I can demonstrate that. But generally, you understand what's happening, right? So this joystick area like is also sometimes it's for fast forwarding, rewinding, like that, pausing, playing, like that. You can do this. The joystick type of things also available. You can access the options here. This camera is pretty bad. Okay, sorry about that. Uh, like that. Okay, so those things. So that is why we need an interface in order to communicate with the device. In order to communicate with the device or the program, we need an interface like this, so that we should be able to communicate with that. So that's the basic understanding of it, right? So having understood that, let's move on to computer interfaces. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Um, right. I think you can see my screen now, right? Do you see my screen now? Yeah.
Yeah, sir.
Okay, children, now watch this. Those days, still we are using this one. We had an operating system called, which was working on a platform called, or we mainly call that as CLI, command line interface. Okay, it's called command line interface. This is a single user, single tasking OS operating system. Microsoft DOS, MS DOS is one example for that, right? So this is that. So if you type version, so this is a applet, or this is a small utility built to Windows. Now this is not the fully DOS operating system that you see. I can't even take this to full screen mode in Windows 7 onwards. They have made this one not to go for full screen mode. Earlier screens you can go for full screen mode and you can work that. So here you can't do that now, right? um, there are old DOS games still available. If you want to install that one, there are DOS game engines are there. You can download that and install in your computer. After that, only you can execute those DOS games. You can play those games in uh, DOS mode, right? Okay. So this is another interface. For example, if I want to check the time, let me see whether I can increase the font size there. There are no much options, right? Okay, I just increase it. I hope you can see that. So actually, if I want to go to my C drive, I will just type a command like that. If I want to go to the D drive, I will go type like that. So if I type um, ls. That's I have installed those commands. That's why it works. So usually you type cls to clear the screen. If you type dir, it will display all the directories, right? So it's my personal folder. I don't want to just show all the things. So let's say work folder. I have a folder called um, in E drive. I have work folder. So I'm going inside the work folder. Inside that I have a folder called Java folder. So if I type dir command, all the Java uh, files or the projects and the folders that I did, I can see that. If I type a command called tree command, it will show in my Java folder all the folders, subfolders, and files in it. Right? It's like this hacking movie screens. It just shows like that. So it's nothing to do with hacking, right? So you can change the color also, right? Right. So default color is 7. That's possible. If you want to check the time, you can do like that. So that's the date, that's the time, right? You can change the time also. So it's pretty easy. So at a time you can do like that, right? So this is how you are working with the command prompt. So this is a command line interface. So each command I'm giving, the operating system is responding back. So I can do the work in it, right? So I can do the work with that. So this is how people were working some time back. Okay. Windows operating system 3.0, 3.1 and all, mainly that was based on DOS operating system like this. You have to boot the computer. It will come and stay in C drive like this. So from there you will type win, and when you press the enter key, Windows operating system will run as a program inside DOS operating system. So that is how it has developed now to a full-fledged operating system now. Okay, so once you have finished working with that, you can press the exit button. So everything you work with commands. So if you take the command prompt interface, which is not very user friendly, because you need some kind of a technical knowledge to work with this one. So right, so yes, you can do that, right? So if you want to create a folder, type md or mkdir, md, let's say java underscore fun. So it is created. So if you want to go inside that, you type change directory cd. Now I'm inside that folder. If I type dir, I can show all the files and folders inside. There is no other file left in that, right? So I can type notepad space test.txt. Notepad program will open with that file. I can say yes. I can say create the file, save it, close it. So if I type dir, that file is there, right? So if I want to, without open that file, if you want to see what you have inside that, you can say type and you can give the file name, and you can see the things in the command prompt itself, right? So these are just some features of DOS operating system, right? Just to have a idea about the operating system, I just give. This is one way the person can communicate with the computer, right? Let's finish this thing up. Now we have, after that you have the GUI operating system or GUI interface, which stands for, some people pronounce it as GUI or GUI, right? So just I pronounce it as GUI. So it stands for graphical user interface. Graphical user interface, right? So nice. Now what we're going to do is uh, graphical user interface. I'm going to demonstrate that one. I don't have to actually demonstrate this one. You are quite familiar with this one. You are keep on using GUI programs. Windows is the best example of that. So let's take one program installed in what do you call this, Windows operating system, which is calculator program. If you open your calculator program, so this is a GUI program where it is a window actually, children. So you can resize it, right? So you can minimize it, take it back, right? And you can maximize it, restore that, right? All those kind of things you can do. And there are buttons here. I can press them, right? 12 into 12. Then I can press this one. Then I can get that, right? So if I can press the cancel button, escape button, it will disappear. I can use the number pad on the keyboard also. It's programmed like that. For example, let's say 100 into 100, how much? So I can very simply see that. So the calculation also, it shows here. You are able to copy and paste this also. So it's possible to do. But the thing is, once you have a GUI program, once more, watch this. So once you have the calculator program, in the GUI program, you never know what's going to happen next, which means, for example, after I start this one, I can directly close this. I can maximize this. I can minimize this. I can resize this, or I can directly do a calculation. When I'm going to do a calculation, do you have any clue which numbers I'm going to press? No. I can type 55 minus 10 and multiplied by 6. Press enter key. So I get the answer, right? I get the answer. So this program is designed to work in such a way for the user's interactions. When the user works with the interface, when the user makes or does an action on the screen, the program is responding. For example, if I press 5 here, it is marking as 5 pressed. So I can press the plus as an operation, 6. Then if I press enter key, so the answer is coming. So the program is designed in such a way. This is a tiny program, okay? So that's a GUI program, right? So let's say, um, I'll show you my MP3 player. So you can see here, I have a, maybe I have a huge collection of songs, right? So, right, so that is here. This is also having an interface, right? So I can't play this one. I might get a copyright strike, right? So there are some songs here, right? So a lot of songs are there. I can double click a song, it'll play, or I can pause, I can play, I can go to the previous song, I can go to the next song, right? I can change the equalizer presets. Likewise, I can do, right? So minimize, maximize, every option is there, right? So that's what it does, right? So we will close this program. So we're going to build a program now in GUI mode. So that program we can actually test it and do it. Right. If you check my previous published video about the GUI programming and event handling, I have done a detailed program on command, Notepad, like I'm coding that part, then I'm doing it, right? Okay. So actually this is my brother's channel. Okay. So I have a lot of paintings there. You can go and support this channel also, right? Nice paintings are there in this channel. So we are uploading. Let me tell you this one, my channel. If you go to Nusrat's channel, uh, now see this video, Java event handling. See, this is the video. In this video, children, I'm building this app, right? So quite fast. So it's in fast forward mode. You can see I'm coding that. I wish I can code in that fast. So this part, I'm building a GUI part. I'm building a GUI program from scratch. So I'm not using NetBeans to do that. I'm just typing all the code and doing it. That part I'm going to skip in this session. I'm not going to do it. If you want, you can refer this video, okay? Event handling in Java. That video you please watch if you really want. This is a short and sweet video, about just 1 hour. Everything is there. You can cover it up, right? Okay. Nice. Let's continue with our program now. Now I'm going to show you how we're going to build the GUI part. Right. First, I'm going to do the program. After that, I will post the video and I will start working with you. Then you can start working in your program, right? Okay. Let's take, after your class, we can take a note on this, right? Um, there are steps that you can build the GUI programs, okay? Mm, Okay, if you take a look at the GUI programming part, right? So I will explain you what is GUI programming again, right? So it is a programming paradigm where the program designed to respond to user actions, also called events, such as clicking a button, resizing a window, entering a button, exiting a button, area, so on and so forth. I'm going to demonstrate that part to you, right? So event handling, basically working with events. These are the three things that we're going to talk today: events, event generators, and event listeners. So this is not a big thing, we can learn that from. Then creating a GUI program, it follows these steps, right? Creating a GUI program follows these steps. We're going to create the GUI program in this 4 steps. Fifth step, we are not going to do it today. Step one, when you're creating a GUI program, first of all, now when you're building a program, you know what are the inputs that you need to take, what process you need to do, and what output you are going to take. So as the developer or as the designer, you have the idea what input to take and how to take it. So in a GUI program also, when you want to design the program, when you want to take the input from the user, you need to have an idea what input am I taking. Like for example, it is asking select your gender. So you have an option to leave a text box there. The user can type his or her gender, male, female, like, or one person will type capital M, another person will type simple F, another person will type female, spelling mistakes, all the things can come. The other option can do, you can have a drop down list box, so you can select male, female. Another option can be radio buttons. So when male is chosen, if female was selected, automatically it will remove, and vice versa. If you choose female, male will be automatically removed. At an occasion like that, either a comma box or selecting from a radio button will be the best choice, not letting the user type the text value. So that is also that we need to make sure. After learning the types of components, you will realize, for this place a drop down list box is better, this place a date control box is better, for this place we have to put a text field, no, this place we have to give multi-line text. Likewise, when you work with the components and once you know the components, you will understand what components to put in your GUI program, right? So that part is what is meant by step one, create the user interface. So for example, if you are building a login screen, basically you need the username password. To type the username and password, you need 2 text fields. Then you need a OK cancel or login cancel button. Basically, these are the 6 controls that you need: 2 labels, 2 text fields, 2 buttons. You can build a GUI login screen if you like. So then dragging and dropping and arranging that part is known as the creating the or create the user interface. I'm not going to read everything. I'm going to demonstrate step 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I will come back. So let it be this screen here. Let's go to our program. I'm going to show you how you can build a GUI program. This is, you are not practicing with me. This will take about 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes, I will again post the video. Then I will give you time for you to practice, right? Or you can practice with me. Carefully, I will right click on the package where I'm working on, then select new. Then I will carefully choose J frame form. Do not choose anything else. Choose J frame form. I'm going to choose J frame form. Once I do choose that, just like creating a Java program, it is asking for the class name. You can give a meaningful name. Since we are practicing GUI, I'm going to give GUI demo. I think I don't have any other GUI demos here. So I don't have that program. So I'm going to say GUI demo. Then I'm going to click finish. Nice. Then this is the interface, or this is the blank window I get. In this blank window, I can build my program. This is the interface. So I can build that. Right. So, there is a plastic board like place where they have placed these buttons and everything. So it's sit in a small vessel like thing. Right. So all the things are there. So where you can put the battery and all, it's there. But there is a way, or there is a platform, there is an area where these buttons are placed. You can see that. Okay, so this interface is needed, that in order to build that GUI part, we need a platform, or we need an area where we can place the buttons. Just like that, that is what we have. This what do you call this, blank form is here. So to the blank form, you can see to your right hand side, you will see some palettes. Okay. So directly you have a thing called palette. Under that you have subcategories like this. Under that category, what is mainly wanted is swing controls. Components are also known as controls. You can drag and drop them. Your controls will be different from mine because I have installed certain third-party libraries where I am getting these additional components. You also can download and install them. They are totally free. Um, Now, if you happen to not have that palette there, you can simply open your window and you can go to IDE controls, window, IDE controls, and palette. The shortcut key for that is Control Shift 8. If you don't have that, Control Shift 8 will open the palette, right? So if you know the shortcut keys, it's much easy. Or if you are just opening from window, that's also possible. Window, IDE tools, palette, right? Once you have the palette, it's just a matter of choosing the correct component and bringing to the interface. So you just choose a button, drag and drop it here, then you can adjust it. I'm going to adjust it later. So I just leave it there and I will increase this one. I'm going to add a text field. You don't have text box in Java, we have text field. So I'm going to drag and drop that to the screen, as well as I'm going to increase the size as well, right? So you can see there are some lines going here and there are some spring-like marks shown, right? So there is a separate program in the interface called layout managers, right? So layout managers. So there is a layout manager in this one that is called free design. So it's available here by NetBeans. So I'm going to choose here something called null layout. So the first thing after adding or before adding the components you can do is right click on the blank area of the screen, choose set layout, then choose null layout. We will do next. Okay. So when you choose that, you are disabling all the existing layout managers. Now we can freely move around and we can adjust as we want, right? So it gives you much freedom. There are disadvantages in this method also, uh, but for the time being, we will keep it simple like that. Okay, we got one text field, we got one button, right? That's this is the interface I want to build. This is the interface I want to build. Let's say additionally, I want to have a label as well, right? Okay, just have a label like that, right? Okay, according to the program or according to the theory, I have done this part. Create the user interface. So this is the interface I want. One label, one text field, one button. That nothing I changed. The settings I did not even touch. I did not change any settings, right? Now, step 2 is set the properties. Properties, for example, if you take a look at this remote controller, it does say it is Sony, right? It's a Chinese one. We just bought it again, right? So the original one was broken. So I just bought this one again, right? So it just says Chinese. So the, what do you call that? Sony brand is there. Then you can see these buttons are having labels on that. Then actually they have a shape, they have a size, they have a color, they have a material, so on and so forth. So in our components also, we have a label, text field, and a button. We can further customize them. For example, if you take a look at this label here, this button, all these are same buttons, okay? Same maybe button. Only the label in the buttons are different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 9. The labels are different, okay? The labels are different. But here also we have one label here. I can add another label here. So we need to have a purpose for these two labels. So label 1, label 2 is just generic terms, right? So it doesn't make much sense. So what this label is used? Okay, right. So we will type uh, a heading here. So if I want to do a change, that comes under property settings, because what is displayed on that label is a property. What is the color of the text is a property. Whether the background color is there or not, it's a property. What is the height? What is the width? What is the text alignment? What is the font? All these things are properties, characteristics, attributes, right? That is what is called properties. Okay, right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the font first of all like this, not the font text. I can just right click. I can right click on the component, then select edit text. You can do that from the properties dedicated window also. All the editable properties are given. All the editable properties are given here. You can change them also. You can change all the properties that you want at a given time, children. Most of the time we will be working with some very common properties. Those are listed here at the very top, and it says properties and other properties. That's the reason, because these type of properties are very rarely changed. These properties are very often changed. That is why it has been uh, categorized like this. If you go for an older version of NetBeans, this kind of a customization you won't be able to find. Okay, having said that, let's move on. I want to change this. So if you are doing it in a conventional method, you can choose this, come to the properties window, next to the text, you can select the text and you can change, right? So we're going to type here GUI and event event events demo. We'll just type a title. So it's a heading like I'm going to have. So it's just displaying text there. I like to do like this. So it's easy way to change the text which is appearing on the components is not going to the properties and doing it takes time. Just right click on the component, choose the very first option, which is edit text. There itself we can do. For example, we can type GUI demo and event demo. Now that's the title I like, right? So I typed it. That's it. So if we want to change the font, if you want to change the size, those things you can do it from the properties window. So I'm going to change the font here. So let's change from here. It's pretty simple. Let's set it to size 18 so it's not visible enough. And it says horizontal alignment. I'm going to set it to center. That's the only two settings I'm going to do. If I really like, I can do the change the color as well. Let's put it on a bright green color so it will be visible. Okay, let's put it to green color. That's visible. It's a pretty bad choice, right? So let's put a dark green color. Okay, not bad. Next, right? This component text field, I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to select edit text. I'm deleting the text. I don't want any text there. Then I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to choose change variable name. All of you know what are variables. Variables are memory locations which are used to store a value, and during the execution of the program we can change the value. Right. Nice. Okay, somebody is asking me to go a bit slower, right? Let me go a bit slower. Right. So what we're going to do is, I can choose change variable name. I can change the name of the variable so that I can write code and the code will work with the component. Simply it will work with the component. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to select change variable name. You can change it from the other place also. I'm going to choose change variable name. Um, you use different type of components: text area, progress bars, scroll bars, like list boxes, comma boxes, text boxes, password fields, toggle buttons, etc. So for most of the components you can use a prefix. For example, for text boxes or text fields we can use txt to indicate that's a text field, right? So I'm going to say txt title. I'll just type txt title. That's all I'm going to give. So there is no visual change in that, but the property hereafter will be identified. The component will be identified as txt title. When I want to write code, I can do that, right? Now, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the button, right click, say edit text. Let's say test GUI. I'm going to just type test GUI. So I just change the text only. Now I'm going to change the button name also. Right click, change variable name. For buttons, you can use btn. In Visual Basic or Microsoft environment, people use CMD to say that command button. Either way, you can find. I prefer btn, right? Btn, I'm going to say okay. I'm giving this button as btn okay, right? That's what I have in my interface, right? So this interface has been set. One more thing that you have to set is the width. So of the screen also you can set when you're dragging and dropping, or when you're clicking and dragging, what's happening is the size you are changing, right? So now it is a different size. Now it's a different size. So you can accordingly, you can change. Now this is, I think, something like 300 and something to 200 something. So though you have like this, if you run the program, I'll run this program and show you. Now we have done only two steps: design the interface, set the properties. If I run the program, shift F6, you will see a tiny program here. Do you see there is on left top corner, there's a tiny program. So you have to again resize this, bring it here, then it will work. It's not doing anything because we haven't coded it, but that problem is there. So that problem, how to fix, I'll show you. To fix that problem, you have to go to the code in window, right, of this one. Code in window, you can simply go here by pressing the source button, or on the keyboard you can don't worry about this code, right? You can press Control Alt page up, page down. You will uh, toggle through these three sections, right? History, design, and source. So I prefer using the shortcut keys, much easy, right? So it's either way is fine. If you like to click using the mouse, you can do it from here. Or if you are a keyboard prefer, you can use Control Alt page up, page down. So you can go to code window as well as you can come back to the GUI window. The shortcut key is Control Alt page up, page down, right? So you can use that one. So I'm going to the source code. I'm going to the source code. In the source code, you will see certain things. So these commands I don't need. Actually, the name of the program I gave is GUI demo, and there is a command has come, something called extends, and the name of the program we chose is here, which is JFrame. Actually, children, we are doing a subclassing here. That means from an existing program called JFrame, we are creating a program called GUI demo. GUI demo, which is already built program is there with the uh, icon and the minimizing, maximizing, closing. By clicking the close button, automatically it works. We didn't code that one. All those features comes with that. So that window is the program we take and we convert that into a login screen. We convert that into a data entry form. We convert that into a calculator. We convert that into a report. We can do that. So existing program is JFrame. It's just a common window. We can take that and we can change it. So like we have a plastic board like this, you can have a remote control built for a TV. Then the same kind of platform can be used to build a remote control for a AC. Likewise, you can do the things. The same type of buttons can be used, right? Buttons can be used, and but you can have a different type of a circuit board to do so different type of a work. All right, the next part we're going to work is, you can see there's an important method here called GUI demo. Here the name of the program is GUI demo. Here you can see there's a method called GUI demo. How you say this is a method? Because you see open close parenthesis next to the method demo, right? So you can see there is a word called init components, because we dragged and dropped the components, we adjusted, we set the properties. All these settings were made by NetBeans itself. We did not do these lines of code. I didn't type this code. I didn't do any property settings in the code in, because you know a computer program is a set of instructions. So these instructions, actually if I unfold the code in line number 17, you can see there is a method called private void init components. It has already created a method called init components, and this code is not editable. It is read only. Don't ever change this code. Also, please let the NetBeans handle that. You can see here the codes are properly created. So btn OK means what? Btn that is btn title means what? JLabel 1 means what? These are from classes. It is creating the things for us. So what is the text? It should appear here, right? Where it should be added. What is the size of the component, set bounds, everything is there. If you want more information about set bounds and all, look my previous video, okay? Right. So these are the things which is not necessary for us to practice here. So we're not going to do that. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to do a small tweak in next to the init components. We don't need that. Next to the init component, just we're going to type a method called set size. That means the screen size we're going to give. So simply we're going to give the width and the height. So I'm going to mention this one as something like 350 comma 200 or 250. 350 by 250, right? So after setting that, I can go back to the design window. I can press Shift F6 to run the program. So it is executed like that. So it's pretty okay, not bad. So I don't like the exact size I want. So you can double click on the border. It will come 372 by 250. So okay, go back. You can just paste that value here, come back. So it will come exactly the size that you are building, right? So this is how it looks, right? So we did only these two steps: create the user interface and set the properties, right? Now we're going to do the write the code part. Now we will talk about the event-driven programming style, right? Now, though we have an interface like this, what we don't have is the program is not working. It is not working. So we need to make this program work, right? So in order to make this program work, we need to give instructions. We need to write code in. So in an event-driven program or in a GUI program, actually how things going to work is, as the user, as you are going to interact with the system. You are going to interact with the user interface. How you can interact in this system? You can go inside the text field and you can type values. You can press the test GUI button, right? Those are mainly two things. Apart from that, you can see you can iconify this. In Java, minimizing is called iconifying. Taking it back called de-iconifying. And you can maximize it. You can restore that. You can maximize it. You can restore it from here. You can restore it from here by double clicking. You can close it. You can resize it from here. Again, you can resize it from here. You can click and drag. All these are actions. Not only that, you can select this text. You can type there. You can select and delete. You can press this button. Now see, the mouse pointer is coming over the button is one action. The mouse pointer is going outside the button is another action. So mouse entered, mouse exited. These are two actions. Mouse clicked. There are three things now. Mouse entered, it is over the button's region. Mouse exited, it is off the mouse region. It came over and it clicked. There is another action. So I can code this one. I'm going to demonstrate that to you now, right? So step 3 we're going to do is write the code. So the in GUI will work now after we write the code in. So there we can use the programming knowledge. Anyway, we are going to practice first, then we can create a useful program. So in order to write the code, you can write it different ways. I prefer doing it the proper way. I'm going to code for the button. When the mouse pointer comes over, we will change the background color of this one to green color, right? So we will select the button first, then we will right click. Don't practice. I'm going to practice with you next, right? Right click, then select events, right? Right click, events, then select action. This is a type of actions. Right? Because children, in order to generate an event, we need a event source. We need a event source, right? So events we need. Events are clicking, clicking and dragging, double clicking, typing, resizing, minimizing, maximizing, dragging and dropping, mouse enter, mouse exited, key typed, key pressed, key released. A lot of events are there. So those are events. So event generators. Think about a guitar. The other days I have a guitar here. Today I didn't keep it. So if you have a guitar and if you strum on the guitar, when you strum, you get the sound. So you need a guitar to generate the guitar sound. If you have a flute, then when you blow the wind, it will generate the flute sound. If you have a piano, when you're banging on the keys, then it will generate the piano sound. If you have a drum, when you hit the bass or when you are striking the drums, it will give you the drum beats, so on and so forth. So you need event generators. In order to generate the event, you need a thing, right? Let's say you want to get the clap sound, right? So in order to generate the clap sound, now you have one hand, you can't do that, right? So that sound can be generated because then these are the event generators. The clap sound can be generated by, can do like that. Do you understand? Right. So then event listeners are there. These are special programs in the computer. They will listen to that or they will wait for it. Oh, now button clicked. I should execute this code. Mouse entered. Now I should execute this code. Mouse exited. I should execute this code. Program minimized. I should execute this. Program closed. I should execute this. Program resized. I should execute that. So event listeners will do that part for you. So events, actually what's happening, events generators or source like buttons, text fields, scroll bars, all these components, they are the people who will generate the events. They'll let you generate the events. Then event listeners are the people who are actually handling when a click happens, what to do. When a double click happened, what to do. When the mouse pointer comes, what to do. Event listeners will do that part. So what we do next is we're going to do like this. Now I'm going to right click on the component button. Then I'm going to choose events. Then we go to action. It is coming basically under action, then action performed. That means normally buttons will be clicked. Once you click a button, code will be executed. We will do this next. Before that, we'll go to action called mouse. We're going to do the mouse events. When you go to mouse events, there are some mouse events. One mouse event is mouse clicked, then mouse entered, mouse exited, mouse pressed, mouse released. So I'm going to use the method event which is mouse entered, right? When the mouse comes over the surface, right? Mouse entered. I'm choosing that. So my code comes like this. So don't worry about this code. We're going to work with this. You are developers. You're going to spend more time with this kind of interfaces, right? My code correctly comes there and it is staying there. Sometimes the NetBeans will scroll up like this, and interface will look like that. You can't see your cursor, and in your program you might have around 300, 400, or maybe 1000 lines of code in. So the problem is finding that one will be very difficult, right? Let's see how we can do that. So in your keyboard there are left, right, up, down arrows. Use the left and right arrows. Left, right arrows. When you try to use the left and right arrows, the cursor will try to move left and right, and you can locate where the arrow is, right? So let's say the cursor is at the top and you have scroll it down. Now you want to find where the cursor is. Just use left, right. See, I found it, right? Likewise, the code will be here. Then we will simply find it. If you take a look at what the code says is, it says private void btnok mouse enter. This is the handling code we're going to do. That means if the button is mouse pointer come over the text, that button, what should be done, we have to code. This part is read only. See, I can't change that part, right? So to do, add your handling code here. I can erase that comment if I want, or I can write the code in here. So when the mouse pointer comes over, I like to change the background color of the text button or text field. So, you know, TXT title is the name we gave for that, TXT title. Then we say dot, this is object-oriented programming actually. TXT title dot, we say set background. And we can give a color. So by default, red is coming. We can use any color that we like. So I'm going to use green, right? Set txt title dot set background color green, right? So we will try this. What's going to happen now? Shift F6. The interface is here. Mouse pointer is coming. All these areas, nothing happening, nothing happening. If the mouse pointer comes over the button, see what's going to happen. See, I'm going to take it over that. See, once the mouse pointer is over the button, the color of the text field is changing. But when it is going out, I haven't coded it, so it's staying green, right? We can fix that. So again, we are right clicking on the button, right clicking on the button, then selecting events. You can go to same place, mouse. This time I'm choosing mouse exited. Mouse exited. That means mouse pointer went out. Choose this. Then if you are having problem finding out where the place of the cursor is, use left and right arrows, right? I found the place where it is. Then I'm going to do my coding. So what is the code I'm going to set is txt title, set background. I will set it to white again, set the background to white again. So it will look like the default. So watch this. When the pointer is here, when the mouse pointer comes over, it turns to green. Once the mouse pointer goes out, it goes back to white. Green and white, green and white. Okay. Now, if I click the button, there is nothing happening. If I click the button, what should happen? I should code. If I click the button, I can do the coding. I can do a calculation. I can do some parts here, right? So we will do like this. Again, go here, select this one, right click, events. This time, mouse not clicked. I'm going to go for action. Action, then choose action performed. That's the way. It's very simple. You press the enter key over that, or else you press the button, or you click the button, right? Okay, I'm going to do the code in there. When you press the button, I'm going to display txt title. I will say set text. That means that is the method we will learn slowly. We are changing the text property of the text field to Java is fun to learn. I hope so. Java is fun to learn, right? So we will run the program and now see there are 3 events we are responding to. 1, mouse entered, background color changes to green. Mouse exited, background color changes to white again. You go and click on the button, text properties changing. Text properties changing. So it is changing from blank. Now it's blank. If you click, it changes to Java is fun. Okay, so you have made your first GUI program and you set the properties. Now you did the coding, right? Final step we did was we saved the project. Actually, we don't have to save it and run because NetBeans is automatically saving the project before it is running, because programs can crash during the execution. So for that reason, NetBeans is automatically saving the project, then it is running. So actually the 4th step should be run, save the project, run and test. So we have to execute and see how it's working. Once more, I'm doing it. I'll show you before that. So step 3, we wrote the code. Step 4, save the project, run and test the program. That we also did. Shift F6. Here we go. Mouse pointer comes, color changes. Mouse pointer goes out, again color changes. Click, color changes. Right? Okay, that's the basic program we just built. Okay, that is what we built. Okay, now we will practice. Okay, so for today's lesson, we have come to the end of the lesson. So we today mainly focused on GUI programming along with event uh, handling. So if you are recapping, events are actions which are triggered by the user basically. For example, if you have a GUI program, in the GUI program, you have buttons, like this is a physical example I took. So you can do different actions on the interface. According to the action that you're performing in the interface, what's happening is the accordingly the task is being carried out. You can do the task that whatever you want to do. So in that scenario, in that fashion, when you develop programs and execute, that is called event driven programming. So basically you have events, you have event sources, that means button, text boxes and things like that, which generate the events. And finally you have the event listeners. Those are the special programs built in Java, like event action listener, right, things like that. Those are the ones who will take care of what happens when the button is clicked, when the mouse enters, when the mouse exited, what happened should be taken care by those event handlers. So events, event generators or event sources, and event listeners. Under these things, we built the program. So we built a tiny program also. The screen is not shared with you anyway. Before that, we did that part anyways. So the next day we will be doing some more programs in GUI. Tomorrow also we will do some more program on GUI, where we will be learning that another GUI. We will do some calculation type of things. We will learn how to take a text value to numeric, do the calculation, get the answer in numeric, again display back uh, in the GUI using numeric value. We will sorry, in text value. We will see how to do that part, right? Okay, then. Thank you very much for joining for the session. And yeah, as usual, see you in the next video. Till then, bye.